Good evening, everyone. It is Felicia Carter with Spiritual Growth Podcast, Digital Marketing with Fee and KH Institution and Lioness Creation Designs. Welcome to Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. We are going to hop right into the chapter. We are on chapter 7. I know that I was not able to do the live session on Monday, so I said, let me come up on here before I have a meeting tonight, a Zoom tonight. And then I was like, let me go ahead and do this. So I might come back and finish whatever we don't get finished tonight. So this is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. We are listening off of the Spotify audio version, but you can get the book Amazon, a bookstore, a thrift store. You can get it off of Audible, however you are comfortable. So please, once you all come into the room, please make sure you heart and share this live out so that other people can see it. And please let me know where you are tuning in from. If this is your first time or if you are a repeat viewer, I would definitely appreciate that. Tonight, I don't want to do a whole lot of talking. I just want to go ahead and hop right into the book. We are in the second. We're in the second section of the book, which is like the meditation section of the book. It seems like it's been so long. Oh, your brain and meditation is the section that we are in. We are on page 147. If you have the hard copy of the book, and it is called The Gap. So let me go ahead and get this audio started. And then we will go with any questions that you have. You can go ahead at any time during this live and you can put your questions down in the comment section, and I will make sure to go ahead and view the questions and try to answer them while we are live. All right, y'all, let's go. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Chapter 7, The Gap. I was sitting on my couch one day, thinking about what it means to be happy. As I contemplated my utter lack of joy, I thought about how most people who were important to me would have given me a pep talk right on the spot. I imagined it verbatim. You're so incredibly lucky. You have a wonderful family, which includes beautiful kids. You are a successful chiropractor. You lecture to thousands of people. You travel the world going to unusual places. You were featured in What the Bleep Do We Know? And many people loved your message. You even wrote a book and it's doing well. They would have hit all of the right emotional and logical notes. But to me, something wasn't right. I was at a point in my life where I was traveling from city to city every weekend doing lectures. Sometimes I was in 2 cities within 3 days. It occurred to me that I was so busy that I had no time to actually practice what I was teaching. This was an unnerving moment because I began to see that all of my happiness was created from outside of me, and that the joy I experienced when I was traveling and lecturing had nothing to do with real joy. It appeared to me that I needed everyone, everything, and every place outside of me in order to feel good. This image that I was projecting to the world was dependent on external factors. And when I was not out lecturing or doing interviews or treating patients and I was home, I felt empty. Don't get me wrong, in some ways those things outside of me were great. If you had asked anyone who saw me lecturing, deeply engrossed in working on a presentation during a flight, or answering dozens of emails while in an airport or hotel lounge, such an observer would have said that I appeared to be pretty happy. Sad truth is that if you had asked me at one of those moments, I would have probably responded in much the same way. Yes, things are great. I'm doing well. I'm a lucky guy. But if you had caught me in a quiet moment, when all of those other stimuli weren't bombarding me, I would have responded in a completely different manner. Something's not right. I feel unsettled. Everything feels like the same old, same old. Something is missing. On the day I recognized the core reason for my unhappiness, I also realized that I needed the external world to remember who I was. My identity had become the people I talked to, the cities I visited, the things I did while I was traveling, and the experiences I needed in order to reaffirm myself as this person called Joe Dispenza. And when I wasn't around anyone who could help me recall this personality that the world might know as me, I wasn't sure who I was anymore. In fact, I saw that all my perceived happiness was really just a reaction to stimuli in the external world that made me feel certain ways. I then understood that I was totally addicted to my environment, and I was dependent on external cues to reinforce my emotional addiction. What a moment for me. I had heard a million times that happiness comes from within, but it never hit me like this before. As I sat on the couch in my house that day, I looked out the window and an image came to me. I envisioned my two hands, one above the other, separated by a gap. Refer figure 7a, the identity gap. The top hand represented how I appeared on the outside, and the bottom was how I knew myself to be on the inside. In my self-reflection, it dawned on me that we human beings live in a duality, as two separate entities, how we appear and who we really are. How we appear is the image or the facade that we project to the world. That self is everything we do in order to show up looking a certain way and to present to others a consistent exterior reality. This first aspect of the self is a veneer of how we want everyone to see us. How we really are, represented by the bottom hand, is how we feel, especially when we are not distracted by the external environment. It is our familiar emotions when we are not preoccupied by life. It's what we hide about ourselves. When we memorize addictive emotional states such as guilt, shame, anger, fear, anxiety, judgment, depression, self-importance, or hatred, we develop a gap between the way we appear and the way we really are. The former is how we want other people to see us. The latter is our state of being when we are not interacting with all of the different experiences, diverse things, and assorted people at various times and places in our lives. If we sit long enough without doing anything, we begin to feel something. That something is who we really are. Refer figure 7b, the layers of emotion we memorize that create the gap. Layer by layer, we wear various emotions, which form our identity. In order to remember who we think we are, we have to recreate the same experiences to reaffirm our personality and the corresponding emotions. As an identity, we become attached to our external world by identifying with everyone and everything in order to remind us how we want to project ourselves to the world. How we appear becomes the facade of the personality, which relies on the external world to remember who it is as a somebody. Its identity is completely attached to the environment. The personality does everything it can to hide how it really feels or to make that feeling of emptiness go away. I own these cars. I know these people. I've been to these places. I can do these things. I've had these experiences. I work for this company. I am successful. It is who we think we are in relation to everything around us. But that is different from who we are, how we feel without the stimulation of our outer reality. Feelings of shame and anger about a failed marriage, fear of death and uncertainty about the afterlife related to the loss of a loved one or even a pet, a sense of inadequacy due to a parent's insistence on perfectionism and achievement at all costs, a sense of stifled entitlement from having grown up in circumstances barely above poverty, a preoccupation with thoughts of not having the right body type in order to look a certain way to the world. These kinds of feelings are what we want to conceal. This is who we truly are, the real self hiding behind the image we are projecting. We can't face exposing that self to the world, so we pretend to be someone else. We create a set of memorized automatic programs that work to cover the vulnerable parts of us. Essentially, we lie about who we are because we know that societal mores do not have room for that person. That is the nobody. That is the person whom we doubt others will like and accept. Particularly when we are younger and forming our identity, we are more likely to engage in this type of masquerade. We see young people trying on identities like they try on clothes. And in truth, what teens wear is often a reflection of who they want to be, more than it reflects who they really are. Ask any mental health professional who specializes in working with young people, and she will tell you that one word defines what it is like to be an adolescent: insecurity. As a result, teens and preteens seek comfort in conformity and in numbers. Rather than let the world know what you are really like, adopt and adapt, because everyone knows what happens to those who are perceived to be different. The world is complex and scary, but make it less frightening and much simpler by lumping everyone into groups. Pick your group, pick your poison. Eventually, that identity fits. You grow into it, or at least that's what you tell yourself. Along with the insecurity comes a great deal of self-consciousness. Questions abound. Is this who I really am? Is this who I really want to be? But it's so much easier to ignore those questions than to answer them. All of us have been emotionally scarred from traumatic or difficult experiences as young people. Early in life, we experienced defining events, the emotions of which contributed layer by layer to who we became. Let's face it, we all have been branded by emotionally charged events. As we mentally reviewed the experience repeatedly, the body began to relive the event over and over, just by thought alone. We kept the refractory period of emotional running for so long that we journeyed from a mere emotional reaction to a mood, to a temperament, and ultimately to a personality trait. While we are young, we keep busy doing things that, for a while, stave off those old, deep emotions, sweeping them under the rug. It is intoxicating to make new friends, travel to unknown places, work hard and achieve a promotion, learn a new skill, or take up a new sport. We seldom suspect that many of these actions are motivated by feelings left over from certain earlier events in life. Then we really get busy. We go to school and possibly college. We buy a car. We move to a new town, state, or country. We begin a career. We meet new people. We get married. We buy a house. We have kids. We adopt pets. We may get divorced. We work out. We start a new relationship. We practice a skill or a hobby. We use everything that we know in the external world to define our identity and to distract us from how we really feel inside. And since all of these unique experiences produce myriad emotions, we notice that those emotions seem to take away any feelings that we are hiding. And it works for a while. Don't get me wrong. We all reach greater heights from applying ourselves throughout different periods in our growing years. In order to accomplish many things in our lifetimes, we have to push ourselves outside of our comfort zones and go beyond familiar feelings that once defined us. I am certainly aware of this dynamic in life, but when we never overcome our limitations and continue carrying the baggage from our past, it will always catch up with us. And this usually happens starting around our mid-30s. This can vary greatly from one person to another. By our mid-30s or 40s, when the personality is complete, we have experienced much of what life has to offer. And as a result, we can pretty much anticipate the outcome of most experiences. We already know how they're going to feel before we engage in them, because we've had several good and bad relationships. We've competed in business or settled into our career. We've suffered loss and encountered success. Or we know what we like and dislike. We know the nuances of life. Since we can predict the likely emotions ahead of an actual experience, we determine whether we want to experience that known event before it actually occurs. Of course, all of this is happening behind the scenes of our awareness. Here is where it gets sticky. Because we can predict the feelings that most events will bring, we already know what will make our feelings about who we really are go away. However, when we reach midlife, nothing can completely take away that feeling of emptiness. You wake up every morning and you feel like the same person. Your environment, which you relied on so heavily to remove your pain or guilt or suffering, is no longer taking away those feelings. How could it? You already know that when the emotions derived from the external world wear off, you will return to being the same leopard who hasn't changed its spots. This is the midlife crisis that most people know about. Some try really hard to make buried feelings stay buried by diving further into their external world. They buy the new sports car, thing. Others lease the boat, another thing. Some go on a long vacation, place. Yet others join the new social club to meet new contacts or make new friends. People. Some get plastic surgery, body. Many completely redecorate or remodel their homes, acquire things, and experience a new environment. All of these are futile efforts to do or try something new so that they can feel better or different. But emotionally, when the novelty wears off, they are still stuck with the same identity. They return to who they really are, that is, the bottom hand. They are drawn back to the same reality that they have been living for years, just to keep the feeling of who they think they are as an identity. The truth is, the more they do, the more they buy and then consume, the more noticeable the feeling of who they really are becomes. When we're trying to escape this emptiness, or when we're running from any emotion whatsoever that is painful, it is because to look at it is too uncomfortable. So when the feeling starts to get a bit out of control, most people turn on the TV, surf the internet, or call or text someone. In a matter of moments, we can alter our emotions so many times. We can view a sitcom or a YouTube video and laugh hysterically, then watch a football game and feel competitive, then watch the news and be angered or fearful. All of these outer stimuli can easily distract us from those unwanted feelings inside. Technology is a great distraction and a powerful addiction. Think about it. You can immediately change your internal chemistry and make a feeling go away by changing something outside of you. And whatever it was outside of you that made you feel better inside of you, you will rely on that thing in order to sidetrack yourself over and over again. But this strategy doesn't have to involve technology. Anything momentarily thrilling will do the trick. When we keep that diversion up, guess what eventually happens? We grow more dependent on something outside of us to change us internally. Some people unconsciously delve deeper and deeper into this bottomless pit, using different aspects of their world to keep themselves preoccupied in an effort to recreate the original feeling from the very first experience that helped them escape. They become overstimulated so that they can feel different from how they really are. But sooner or later, everyone realizes that they need more and more of the same to make them feel better. This becomes an all-consuming search for pleasure and ways to avoid pain at all costs. A hedonistic life unconsciously driven by some feeling that won't seem to go away. At this time of life, other people who don't strive to keep their feelings buried ask some big questions. Who am I? What is my purpose in life? Where am I going? Who am I doing all this for? What is God? Where do I go when I die? Is there more to life than success? What is happiness? What does this all mean? What is love? Do I love myself? Do I love anyone else? And the soul begins to wake up. These types of questions begin to occupy the mind because we see through the illusion and suspect that nothing outside of us can ever make us happy. Some of us ultimately realize that nothing in our environment is going to fix the way we feel. We also recognize the enormous amount of energy it takes to keep up this projection of self as an image to the world, and how exhausting it is to keep the mind and body constantly preoccupied. Eventually, we come to see that our futile attempt to maintain an ideal for others is really a strategy to make sure that those impending feelings we've been running from never capture us. How long can we juggle keeping so many balls in the air just so our lives don't come crashing down? Instead of buying a bigger TV or the latest smartphone, these people stop running from the feeling that they've been trying to make go away for so long. Face it head on and intently look at it. When this happens, the individual begins to wake up. After some self-reflection, she discovers who she really is, what she has been hiding, and what no longer is working for her. So she lets go of the facade, the games, and the illusions. She is honest about who she really is, at all costs, and she is not afraid to lose it all. This person stops expending the energy she has been putting into keeping an illusory image intact. She gets in touch with her feelings and then turns to the people in her life and says, "You know what? It doesn't matter if I don't make you happy any longer. I'm through obsessing about how I look or what other people think about me. I'm finished living for everyone else. I want to be free from these chains." This is a profound moment in a person's life. The soul is waking up and nudging her to tell the truth about who she really is. The lie is over. Most relationships are based on what you have in common with others. Think about this. You meet a person And immediately the two of you compare your experiences, as if you both are checking to see whether your neural networks and emotional memories are aligned. You say something like this: I know these people. I am from this place, and I lived in these places at these different times in my life. I went to this school and studied this subject. I own and do these things. And most important, I've had these experiences. Then the other person responds, I know those people. I've lived in those places during those times. I do these things too. I've had those same experiences. Thus, you can relate to each other. A relationship is then formed based on neurochemical states of being. Because if you share the same experiences, you share the same emotions. Think of emotions as energy in motion. If you share the same emotions, you share the same energy. And just like two atoms of oxygen that share an invisible field of energy beyond space and time, in order to bond together in a relationship to form air, you are bonded in an invisible field of energy to everything, person, and place in your external life. Bonds between people are the strongest, though, because emotions hold the strongest energy. As long as either party doesn't change, things will be just fine. Refer figure 7C, emotional bonds. So when our friend in the example in the last section begins to tell the truth about how she really feels, things begin to get very uncomfortable. If her friendships have been based upon complaining about life, then she is bonded energetically to her relationships by the emotions of victimization. If, in a moment of enlightenment, she now decides to break from that habit of being herself, she is no longer showing up as that familiar person to whom everyone could relate. People in her life are using her to remind themselves of who they are emotionally as well. Friends and family respond, "What is wrong with you today? You've hurt my feelings," which translates to, "I thought we had a good thing going on here. I used you to reaffirm my emotional addiction in order to remember who I think I am as a somebody. I liked you better the other way." When it comes to change, our energy is connected to everything that we've ever had an experience with in our outer world. When we break the addiction of emotion we've memorized, or when we tell the truth about who we really are, doing that takes some real energy. Just as it takes energy to separate two atoms of oxygen that are bonded together, it takes energy to break the bonds with the people in our lives. So the individuals in this person's life who have shared the same emotional bonds with her rally together and say, "She hasn't been herself lately. Maybe she's lost her mind. Let's get her to a doctor." Now remember that they have been the people she shared the same experiences with. Hence, they shared the same emotions. But now, she's breaking the energetic bonds with everyone and everything, and even every place familiar. This is a threatening moment for everyone who has been playing the same game with her for years. She's getting off the train. So they bring her to the doctor, who gives her Prozac or some other drug. And in a short time, the person's former personality returns. And there she is, projecting her old image to the world, right back to shaking hands on others' emotional agreements. Once more, she's numb and smiling, anything to take the feeling away. The lesson goes unlearned. Yes, the person wasn't being herself, not the top-hand self that everyone had grown accustomed to. Instead, briefly, she was the bottom-hand self, the one with the past and the pain. And who can blame those loved ones who insisted on the return to her former numbered self? that went along to get along. That new self emerged as unpredictable, even radical. Who wants to be around that person? Who wants to be around the truth? If you need the environment in order to remember who you are as a somebody, what happens when you die and the environment rolls up and disappears? Do you know what goes with it? The somebody, the identity, the image, the personality, top hand, that is identified with all of the known and predictable elements in life, who is addicted to the environment. You could have been the most successful, popular, or beautiful person, and you could have had all of the wealth you ever needed. But when your life ends and your external reality is taken away, everything outside of you can no longer define you. It all goes. What you're left with is who you really are, bottom hand, not how you appear. When your life is over and you cannot rely on your external world to define you, you will be left with that feeling you never addressed. You would not have evolved as a soul in that lifetime. For instance, if you had certain experiences 50 years prior that marked you as insecure or weak, and you felt that way about yourself ever since, then you stopped growing emotionally 50 years ago. If the soul's purpose is to learn from experience and gain wisdom, but you stayed stuck in that particular emotion, you never turned your experience into a lesson. You didn't transcend that emotion and exchange it for any understanding. While that feeling still anchors your mind and body to those past events, you are never free to move into the future. And if a similar experience shows up in your present life, that event will trigger the same emotion, and you will act as that person you were 50 years ago. So your soul says, pay attention. I'm letting you know that nothing is bringing you joy. I'm sending you urges. If you keep playing this game, I'm going to stop trying to get your attention and you'll go back to sleep. Then I'll see you when this life is over. Most people who do not know how to change think, how can I make this feeling go away? And if the novelty of accumulating new things wears off and stops working, what do? They look to bigger things, a whole other layer above where they were, and their avoidance strategies become addictions. If I take a drug or drink enough alcohol, that's going to make this feeling go away. This external thing will produce an internal chemical change and make me feel great. I'll shop a lot because shopping, even if I don't have the money, makes that emptiness go away. I'll watch pornography. I'll play video games. I'll gamble. I'll overeat. Refer figure 7D, the midlife crisis, an attempt to create a new identity from the outside. Whatever the addiction, people are still thinking that some external thing is going to take that internal feeling away. And remember, we have this natural propensity to associate an external thing that's making that feeling go away with our internal chemical change. And we like that external thing that makes us feel good. So we run away from what feels bad or painful, and we move towards what feels good and comfortable or brings us pleasure. As the excitement people get from their addiction continually stimulates the pleasure centers in the brain, they get a flood of chemicals from the thrill of the experience. The problem is that each time they gamble, binge, or stay up late playing online games, they need a little more the next time. The reason why people need more drugs, or more shopping, or more affairs, is that the chemical rush that's created from those activities activates the receptor sites on the outside of their cells, which turns on the cells. But if receptor sites are continually stimulated, they get desensitized and shut off. So they need a stronger signal, a bit more stimulation. to turn them on the next time. It takes a bigger chemical high to produce the same effects. So now you've got to bet 25,000 instead of 10,000 because otherwise there's no thrill. Once a $5,000 shopping spree does nothing for you, you've got to max out 2 credit cards so that you can feel that same rush again. All of this is to make the feeling of who you are really go away. Everything you do to get the same high, you have to keep doing more of with increasing intensity. More drugs, more alcohol, more sex, more gambling, more shopping, more TV. You get the idea? Over time, we become addicted to something in order to ease the pain or anxiety or depression we live by on a daily basis. Is this wrong? Not really. Most people do these things because they just don't know how to change from the inside. They're only following the innate drive to get relief from their feelings, and unconsciously they think their salvation comes from the outside world. It has never been explained to them that using the outer world to change the inner world makes things worse. It only widens the gap. And let's say that our ambition in life is to become successful and to accumulate more things. When we do, we reinforce who we are without ever addressing how we really feel. I call this being possessed by our possessions. We become possessed by material objects, and those objects reinforce the ego, which needs the environment to remind itself of who it is. If we wait for anything outside of us to make us happy, then we are not following the quantum law. We are relying on the outer to change the inner. If we are thinking that once we have the wealth to buy more things, then we'll become overjoyed, we've got it backward. We have to become happy before our abundance shows up. And what happens if addicts can't get more? They feel even angrier, more frustrated, more bitter, more empty. They may try other methods. Add gambling to drinking. Add shopping to TV and movie escapism. Eventually, though, nothing is ever enough. The pleasure centers have recalibrated to such a high level that when there is no chemical change from the outer world, it seems the addict now cannot find joy in the simplest things. The point is, true happiness has nothing to do with pleasure, because the reliance on feeling good from such intensely stimulating things only moves us further from real joy.
Okay, guys. So I am going to pause it there. We are halfway through chapter 7. We're on page 163 if you have the hard copy. This is before the section called The Bigger Gap Emotional Addiction. So I'm going to write this down real quick with a sticky note. Y'all, when I tell y'all I am getting more organized, I'm so happy about that. Okay, so hold on one second. Let me write this down. I might come back on sometime this weekend and finish up chapter 7. And then next Monday, we'll be able to go ahead and do chapter 8, page 163. I'm going to try and write this down. Maybe a Saturday or Friday evening finish this chapter. So, and this is because I didn't get to come on. This is because I didn't get to come on Monday because I wasn't feeling well. So we're gonna end it right there. But I do want to say, like, when I tell you that, during this spiritual journey, I have had a lot of things, a lot of moments, a lot of growth. But when I tell you that it is very important, the people that you have, that you are following on your social media pages is so important, because that is also where, you can get information, and things like that. Now, you also want to be aware of who is putting out certain information and whether or not you need to remove them off of your pages. But I have one of the best soul tribes. My tribe is called the Sacred. Um, what is it? Oh my gosh, I just came up with the name not too long ago. Sacred Star Beings. And when I tell you that my tribe of people that I have on my page are so amazing, the information is so amazing. Just from starting this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and, really seeing like some of the messages that I've been receiving from my soul tribe on my page and things like that, I have grown in a tremendous amount in a short period of time. Um, so as he was saying in the book, it's important that you accept and embrace every part of your life first before you are able to, manifest or even get anything else in your life, that you'll be able to enjoy it. And that is the stage of my spiritual journey that I'm at. I was able to, manifest things before, but now I'm at a stage in my life where, it's like, okay, what is it that I need to do? Like, if I haven't been able to, manifest things in a while, where am I stagnant at? Where is that stagnant energy at? And, I have been practicing gratitude early in the morning, like all day. I wake up grateful. I say that to myself. I've been having sticky notes around the house. Like one of the sticky notes that I see first thing in the morning says, "Today is a great day to accomplish your goals." Beside my front door, it says, this is a home of peace and prosperity. Uh, when I'm in my kitchen, because I'm in my kitchen a lot, it says, trust the process. So, just changing small little things that keep me thinking positively. Even I've noticed when I'm driving, there have been so many tests this week for myself. Like I've had people cutting me off. I've had people, just doing a lot out there on the road. Normally, where I would be cussing out every single person who does something to me, I have been singing. I have been just ignoring, the things that they do. Does it frustrate me? Yes, but at the same time, I let it flow, and I let it go. And I'm just so grateful for that, because at this point in my life, in my journey, I feel like, I'm definitely growing. I definitely feel like there has been a major shift, and I've been seeing that on my timeline as well. There has been a major shift, and I've been feeling it a lot. So, do not get discouraged. If you're already on a journey, then, if you're already on a journey, then, everything is going to happen when it's supposed to. Let me just say real quick, we will continue a reading session either tomorrow or on Saturday. Um, Priestess, um, I do not do readings, honey. Yep, I do not do readings. For anyone. I am solely practicing myself. Do you know Empower Your Energy? Because if not, please do not spam um, my soul tribe. Okay. So unless you know her personally, please do not spam my soul tribe. I do not like that at all. Um, so yeah. All right, y'all. I hope that you all enjoyed this reading session tonight. Um, I do want to let you know that I have free information in my link on my beacons about how you can incorporate your life, your spiritual life with your business life. So I hope that you all go ahead and get the free information because things are changing and the world is digital. So please make sure to grab some free information off of the link in my bio. Um, or you can message me personally and I can send you the information. Hey, how are you? If you are just coming on, we have gotten through half of chapter 7. It's pretty long. If you have the hard copy of the book, is page 163. It is called The Gap for chapter 7. And then also, I was saying that either Friday or Saturday, we'll go ahead and finish up chapter 7 so that on Monday we can start chapter 8. And then I'm getting more organized. So I definitely love that. Please make sure that if you all have not, please let me know where you're tuning in from. Please let me know if this is your first time here. During the reading session. And please make sure you share this live out. I love and appreciate you all. Sacred Star Beings, you all are amazing. And I will catch you tomorrow because either way, tomorrow I'm going to be live. So I'm going to be talking to you all about what I'm doing currently and exciting stuff. I don't have a copy. I have to get one. Yes, you can get a copy of Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza on Amazon. You can get it from a bookstore, a thrift store. If you have Spotify Premium, you can get the audio copy on Spotify Premium, or if you have Audible, you can get the audio on there. Ooh, South Australia. Thank you so much for tuning in. What time is it over there? Is it early? Is it late? Over here, it is 7:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. From California, and this is your first time. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I hope that you all can catch up and enjoy the rest of the reading with us. This book has definitely been a book of growth. A lot of, insight into what we're thinking and how what we think and what we feel affects the way that we grow. Oh, 9:10 a.m. Okay, you are just getting the day started. I definitely appreciate you tuning in for the time that you have. Make sure that if you came in late during the live, that you go back and you catch the replay and watch the rest of what you missed. It's late for you, almost time for bed. Oh no, um, I actually have a Zoom meeting in 19 minutes. So I will be doing that. And then I probably will try to make it to bed around 9 or 10, but I have some exciting things that I'm working on. So, I'm not sure yet, but yeah, soon enough. I thank y'all so much. We will definitely catch up tomorrow. I will be going live around lunchtime, so either between 12 or 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that is. So make sure that you all catch me tomorrow. I will just I'll put a post on my page so that you all can see it. If you're not following Carter, Felicia Carey Carter Facebook page, please make sure that you follow me there as well. Some of you are probably seeing me on the Cottage Institution page, which I will be on there as well. But if you are not following me on the Felicia Carey Carter page, you may not see my live. So, either follow me there or you can follow me on my Instagram. I love y'all so much. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.